This is OTech Talks podcast with Kashif Manzoor, and today is our first session. This podcast will be covering different Oracle technology products and also covering real life examples, tools, and tips, and a lot of more stuff on Oracle, which we are doing in our day to day professional life. The idea is just to share and learn with community folks because this podcast will cover following main areas. For example, any Oracle technology topic, including Oracle databases, applications, middleware, or cloud applications, and also cover interviews with Oracle experts and sharing of best implemented solutions based on practical experiences. Our each session will be covering segments like introduction, session's topic, and technical details on that topic which we have chosen it. And then in the end, we will be covering call to action based on the session. In today, our first session, we are going to cover basic architecture concept behind Oracle e-business suite. It is an attempt for new beginners to understand about e-business suite. So let's take this session forward. Basically, e-business suite architecture is a framework for multi-tiered distributed computing that supports different products of Oracle e-business suite. In this model, e-business suite services are distributed among three levels, and we can call them tiers. Now, these services, basically how we can define these services. A service is a process or a group of processes that runs on a single machine and provides a particular functionality. For example, web services process HTTP requests. Form services process requests for activities related to Oracle Forms. Another example on this, the concurrent processing server, the concurrent manager, supports data-intensive programs that run in the background like running different reports in Oracle e-business suite on any version. A tier is a logical grouping of services potentially spread across more than one physical machine. Now, in an e-business suite, what are the major components? For example, when we're installing a new e-business suite. So, as an architecture point of view, installation of Oracle Business Suite consists of three-tier architecture, comprising of the database tier, that's called as first, then application tier, and then middleware tier. Database tier, which supports and manages the Oracle database, application tier, which supports and manages the various Oracle e-business suite components, and we used to call it middle tier. And the third is client desktop tier, which provides the user interface via an add-on component to a standard web browser, where we are basically accessing Oracle e-business suite as an end user who is going to use the Oracle e-business suite application. Now, another concept is in this, a machine may be referred to as a node, particular in the context of a group of computers that work closely together in a cluster. Each tier may consist of one or more nodes, and each node can potentially accommodate more than one tier. For example, the database can reside on the same node as one or more application tier components. So tiers or nodes concept comes up when we will do a basic architecture on e-business suite. A single tier or a dual tier or a multi-tier architecture where Oracle database is on one machine, one server, and application tier node is on another machine. So that's the concept behind node or a tier. However, a node is also a software concept referring to a logical grouping of servers. Centralizing the Oracle e-business suite software on the application tier eliminates the need to install and maintain application software on each client PC and also enables Oracle e-business suite to scale well with an increasing load. So all our application will be on the middle tier or application tier, apps tier, where the core components of e-business suite application are installed, and as a centralized software component is used to access e-business suite from desktop tier from the user's computer or laptop. Now, another basic concept is how connection works between apps, application tier, and a client tier, a desktop tier, a laptop, or an iPad, whatever we are using it. The connection between the application tier and the client tier or desktop tier can operate successfully over a wide area network WAN. This is because the client and application tier exchange a minimum amount of information. For example, only feed values that have changed. Now, the client tier is sometimes referred to as the desktop tier, basically a computer laptop where we are accessing the business suite being an end user. The client interface is provided through HTML for the large number of HTML-based applications and via Java applet in a web browser for the smaller number of forms-based applications. So it's a mix of HTML-based application and Java applet is being used to access Oracle application on client tier or a computer or a laptop, which will access from the middle tier where the application is installed. Now, how to access it? We use a browser like Internet Explorer, where which we are using to access any app website. A browser is used for all client access to Oracle Business Suite. The Forms client applet is a general purpose presentation applet that support all Oracle Business Suite Forms-based products, including those with customizations and extensions, anything which we have done in an e-business suite. The Forms client applet is packaged as a collection of Java archive files that we used to call as jar files. The jar files contain all Java classes required to run the presentation layer of Oracle Business Suite Forms. Now, to access eBusiness Suite on personal computer or a laptop as a client tier or a desktop tier, we must have desktop Java client. So what is this? Let's understand that. The Forms client applet must run within a Java virtual machine JVM on the desktop client. The Sun JRE plugin component allows use of Oracle JVM on web clients instead of the browser's own JVM. This component is implemented as a standard browser plugin. In the traditional way, what we were doing earlier, form-based Oracle Business Suite environment, the JVM was run as part of the standard Oracle Business Suite sign-on process. This was usually happening in 11a. Now the JRE plugin is only invoked when a user chooses to access functions that require it, such as running a Oracle form itself. So if the JRE plugin has not been installed, the browser prompts the users to download the required installation executable. This is happening when we are using a first-time Oracle Business Suite on any new desktop or laptop. After we download and install the plugin, we will be able to run form-based applications. But this is the mandatory component for running eBusiness Suite on personal computers. Now let's understand what this form client will do. The Forms client applet and commonly used jar files are downloaded from the web server, the middle tier, at the beginning of the client's first session, at the beginning of our first session. Less commonly used jar files are downloaded as needed whenever we require it. All downloaded jar files are cached locally on the client or on our desktop or laptop, ready for future sessions. This eliminates network traffic that would be involved in downloading them wherever and whenever we required it. Now, the next question is how we are accessing Oracle e-Business Suite, which I had explained during the initial our conversation, that we log in via the Oracle e-Business Suite homepage, which we are getting on a desktop client or a web browser, Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox. This homepage provides a single point of access to HTML-based applications, form-based applications. Now, which URL we will be writing it, like the way if you want to open at www.google.com, the same way you can get the URL from your installation team, or if you have installed it by default, you will get a URL from the application server that what you're using, like abc.otechtalks.tv or any other example on that. So we need to use that URL in the Internet Explorer, and we will get the Oracle home page. We need to put a username and password, and once successfully logged in via the Business Suite home page, we will be able to log in. Oracle Business Suite also retains preferences as we navigate through the system. For example, if we registered in the home page that Arabic is our preferred language, this preferences carries over whether we access form-based or HTML-based. In release 12, the cache directory path is of the form. For example, we are using our personal computer, then it will be C:// document settings, JALWE application, data, Sun, Java, and deployment cache. So this will be the location of that. You can even check this one by selecting Show Console on the Advanced tab of the JRE plugin control panel. It will allow us to observe or downloading of GR files to confirm they are being downloaded when they should be. Now, if you want to take some more information on this, you can refer Oracle My Support note JSON GRE native client with eBusiness Suite. The knowledge document number is 393931.1. Upgrading JRE plugin with Oracle applications, release 12. With this, today our session is done. And what we have reviewed today, what are the basic component architecture concept behind the eBusiness Suite, like database tier, application tier, and middleware tier. Then we discussed what is a database tier, what is application tier, and what is desktop tier or client tier, and how client tier, desktop tier works with application tier, and what are the prerequisite or mandatory requirement which we should have on our personal desktop, personal computers to access eBusiness Suite, and how to download that and how it will be downloaded. So that process we have gone through. Now our today's session with this is end. Inshallah, we will see you in the next session. Thank you very much for joining today.